Hey there guys, good to see you here, and I'm really excited to share this video with you around self-empowerment. So self-empowerment to me is being self-aware, which is being awake. So here you can see this little guy here. For him to feel self-empowered, he's got to be awake. He's got to be aware of himself. Now, when I say himself, I mean emotionally, physically, how he feels emotionally, what emotions are running through his body, his thoughts, his mindset, and all this is a collaboration of being aware. So one of the first steps I want to share with you about being aware and self-empowered is first listening. And listening is about understanding when something is happening in your body. You're listening for the messages that you get every single moment of every single day. Now, you may have shortness of breath that come up when you are talking to someone who may be a little bit challenging to communicate with. You may feel fatigued or exhausted. You may feel sexually insecure. You may feel a whole bunch of stuff. But when you can actually be aware by listening, then you can go to the next step. So let's put that here now. So you're awake and then you're listening. So when you start to listen, you have to be really honest with yourself. Be transparent and honest, and you can say, okay, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling insecure. And when you're really honest with yourself, you then build this emotional intelligence, this muscle. And by building this muscle, it's kind of like going to the gym. If you can't communicate how you're feeling, what's going on for you on an emotional, mental, physical level, then it's like you can't build that muscle. So think about when you actually go to the gym and you start working the chest for the first time. When you start building those muscles, you have to keep going to the gym. It's the same when you're listening to your body, you're listening to your mind, your emotions, the feelings, the experience you're having as a human being, right? So you start to listen, and then over time, you can begin to make a choice. Now, a choice is something that you can make when you realize that, hey, I've just understood and located and identified an emotion. Let's just say it's sadness. I feel sad. So from that place, you have a choice. And this is where a lot of people get mixed up, because when you're feeling the things that don't feel good and feeling the things that feel good, then you're empowering yourself to move through it. Now, a lot of us have been brought up, especially as guys, that if we don't actually feel the things that, if we feel the things that feel good, then that's okay. But if we don't feel the things that feel good, how are we supposed to process it in our body? And we end up lashing out on other people. It's like this reservoir that gets built up. All the shit that, anxiety, fear, self-doubt, sexual insecurity that gets put into like this reservoir. And eventually we just start to snap because we're not learning how to release it. It's like, okay, let's sit with this for a sec. You use your breath. So breath is really important for moving through emotional stuff. And if there's something that's really uncomfortable, this is a time that you really get to find out more about who you are and understand more about what you want, is by feeling the things that don't feel good as well as the things that do feel good. So once you make that once you listen, you make a choice. Hope you can read that. You make a choice. Now, from this choice, you're owning your shit. I feel sad. And then you give yourself that time in order to process it. And then eventually, you still have that choice, right? So after the sadness can follow optimism. It's like, I feel shit now, though I'm looking forward to the opportunity when I feel good again. So you're not actually just allowing the emotion of sadness to overcome you and just sit there. You're making the choice that in some time in the future, you're going to be able to move through it organically. So after time, you're going to get really good at first identifying something and then moving through it, rather than it running you. So Self-empowerment is being self-aware, and being self-aware is being awake. And when you're awake, you listen. Once you start listening, you then have choice. You start to feel and you start to move through your stuff organically, and it doesn't stop you from living your life in the way you want to live it. So I hope this has been useful. Please click the link below if you want to see more of my videos. Otherwise, I'll speak to you very soon.